Good morning, everybody. It's Marty, the JavaScript party, and my buddy Rhett. There you go. That's a pistachio nut. That is definitely her favorite at this point. She used to, I think almonds used to be her favorite, but now it's pistachios. So it is 8:14 a.m. Monday. I would call this a super Monday. I'm freaking tired. I'm so tired today, just because I just got used to the good life. We got off early on Wednesday, then I was off on Thursday, off on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So now I'm coming back into the swing of things, and we are working on debouncing. And basically, what we want to do is whenever we resize in update mode, right? So we add a viz, and then we close this viz, and then we change our view. And when we do this resize, we're not quite getting all of them. So this says that it's 1.14, but this is 1.11. So the actual aspect ratio should be 1.11, but the calculated aspect ratio came back. So this is a hard one to sort of, how should I come about figuring out where things are? So, because that is really the next part of this analysis, is determining um, exactly how this decides to draw the screen. And so I know I would guess, okay, so there's a couple ways I could do about it. I guess we should start kind of like, so a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just like kind of right click and I'll do an inspect. And then I know that this and this should be right. And I hope that if I figure out how this and this stays in sync, that as a side effect, it will also take care of this. So it looks like the word calculated aspect ratio is inside of a div, which is inside of app layout. This is all inside of app layout, and it's inside of something called editors. All right, so let's go ahead and let's go to our component, app layouts, app, update layout. I gotta believe it's in here. Yeah, there we go. So in here, we find this publisher service and it calculates the aspect ratio, and that's how we get a number. So apparently we have a service called a publisher service. So let's go ahead, and probably the easiest way to get to that will be to click in here, go up to the top and find our publisher service. Is it ST publisher service? Let's go look back over here. This is a little bit new for me. I don't really do that. Yeah, it's ST publisher service. Yeah, this is a signal. So signals are a bit new for me. Um, so this is ST publisher service. So inside of this guy, when there's a resize, huh. So okay, so yeah, that's a good approach. The other approach would be to maybe follow like whatever the resize event is. I wonder if that's in here. So I'm going to do a control F resize. Viewport resize service. So that's probably what it is. Is it? And I guess it's W, probably for window. But I don't know. Guess I wrote it, but it's been a minute. Control F. Okay, so I have this thing where I listen to this and I change the viewport width and then calculate aspect ratio. So basically this runs, this gets set anytime, all of these will get executed anytime the viewport is modified. But this doesn't really feel like what is setting that value. All right, I'm gonna right click and say go to implementation. Okay, so this is where it's set. Okay, so here's where it does get set. Make a new shallow copy of the AR dictionary. Okay, so who calls this set? I guess actually more interestingly, and this is, like I said, a very new thing for me because I haven't worked with signals a whole lot, so I'm kind of inventing kind of my process for finding things. Okay, so here's where it gets set. Okay, and that's this file, and then here we read it. Here we print it out. Okay, let's just see how this thing gets set. Control copy, Control V. Let's see what time is it? 8:21. Okay, so I got a little bit of time. So it looks like inside of this publish server. Okay, so that, and I think, oh, oh, this is what we're looking at right now. Is this what I'm looking at? Set calculated aspect ratio. This is weird. These are identical functions, I think. No, this return AR. Oh, this one is different. Okay, this is ration. That's got to be a misspell. Ration dictionary. Okay, so this is the publisher service. This is the, oh, okay, so this is the app update. And then this is a renderer service. Lord, what have I done? What have I done? What did you do? Resize visualization. Set timeout finalize. All right, so maybe we can work backwards from the ThreeJS service. One of the ThreeJS entity services. Okay, so these are the ST. This is the 3. And then I think it's part of the camera. Yeah, set as. So it looks like this is where it's happening, right? Um, so I think I'm going to just try this. Console.log set aspect ratio. A lot of people consider sort of what we're doing right now to be the hardest part of software development. Okay, so I guess we need to go into this view and add a visualization and go to this view. Let's go ahead and close that. Go to update. So here's where we set the aspect ratio. And then I'm guessing if I resize, yep, then see that set aspect ratio got called 7 times. And we can even and then what we could do is we can move this. And we have a call stack. So we see that set aspect ratio got called by this update aspect ratio for width. And update got called by render by ID. And then render in native element happened here. Update signal handler. Basically what I'm looking for, I think, is wherever there's a throttle. Run effect, refresh view, detect changes. Yeah, so I don't know. So let's look for the word throttle. Maybe that'll get us there. Maybe not. Could have sworn we were throttling. All right. What is going on? All right, let's look at resize. Let's look for the word resize. View resize. Private on resize. This kind of looks viewport event. Okay, so here we go. It looks like on resize we call viewport set. Viewport resize, viewport signal, and then console log. I'm going to console log here. Resize. I'm assuming this is where things happen. This is harder than I thought it was going to be, I will admit. And then let's come over here, add this, go over here, update, and then let's see. Our resize, I think, should have already been called. Maybe not. All right. Resize got called right there. And then console log right afterwards, set aspect ratio got called right here. Let's see. They all both only got called once, which really surprises me. Oh, okay, they did actually get called multiple times. All right, so I don't understand. It feels like this is not being. Maybe I could have sworn. And then I'm guessing that we are listening for this signal somewhere. Viewport. Read only signal on resize constructor undestroyed. Viewport resize service. Let's see who's listening to this thing. Still should have shown up because that's in there. Window event listener. Constructor. Okay, this is where we set it up. And then here we also listen for the resize. Is it happening in here? Go to definition. Oh man. I'm hoping I'm just having a case of the Mondays right now. Okay, set aspect ratio. This gets called control copy, control V from the ST renderer service. Okay. Okay, console. And this is our ST renderer service setting aspect ratio. if I remember correctly, what happens is this I think the as for well, who knows? I think it might happen as part of animations or whatever is just constantly running. Let's see. F12. Where are we in here? Okay, so I'm going to clear this, and what we're looking for now is our ST render service setting ratio. Just a little bigger. Okay, so setting ratio happened here. Okay, so update aspect ratio by ID for width and height. All right, let's see, who the heck calls this guy? Control copy, Control V. Okay, that happens in render by ID. So anytime render by ID gets called, we update this ratio for width and height. Okay, so basically anytime we call this, so basically we know that the calculated ratio is not being used, is not being um, populated properly on resizes. F12 console. I really thought this was going to be a lot easier than it is. Okay, so render by ID happened here. This is our resize event. And then I think viewports, things must be listening to this viewport change. And I think this is like kind of like happening. What's happening right now is that I've never, like I said, I've never worked with really signals before, so I don't know the the best way to find the pieces that I'm looking for right now. So this is like a growing experience. I'm experiencing growing pains right now. All right, so what I probably want to do is this. Let's go to the console log and get render st render service. This guy right here. Okay, I'm curious how we get here. Okay, render in native element. Then update update dimensions. Oh, update dimensions signal handler. Okay, this sounds like what we might be dealing with right here. So update dimensions. This is in the actual viz component itself. All right, so let's go to the viz component. It's going to be in our components in here. Our viz component has this thing here. Okay, so this is where we're listening for this thing, and we call updated, this updated signal handler. Okay, this is where we're calling the thing. And I think, okay, console.log, and then before. Okay, so this is the where we're updating it, and then okay, so this is where we recycle our. Okay, so here's where we create an ID. I don't know what's going to happen here. This is actually good learning. So basically, I'm going to call this. It's going to call this constructor should build this and it shouldn't come back. But I think resizing happens. Okay, so let's just see what happens with our before and after there. Okay, we don't really want this at this point. All right, so I'm going to clear this. And I'm going to change the size and see if. Okay, so yes, so basically when this is happening in here. It is interesting to me. I would have thought it surprises me, ST-render, that I guess it makes sense. So we're setting the aspect ratio and then we're at after, right? And then so when we did that, we got a whole bunch of befores and then a bunch of afters, and then see this resize happened in between. Viewport resize. I think this is the thing that actually sets it. And oh, that's right. I don't. It's weird. Maybe it's not what I thought it was. Maybe it isn't debouncing setting. Oops. Set aspect ratio. Because okay, so set aspect ratio. This is where it actually happens before. Oh. Oh, maybe that's a timing issue. Maybe this set aspect ratio should be happening after this resize. Okay, so that's in the camera service. So we should be setting. Okay, so maybe, yeah, maybe we're forgetting to set the aspect ratio after a resize. Because let's clear this. Okay. See, this is before, then we have the render, yeah, and then after. And then something is using the calculated aspect ratio. Okay, so where do we set the calculated aspect ratio? We use the calculated aspect ratio signal. And how does that get set? Set. We want basically this guy right here, right? Set. So this fires anytime the signal is aspect ratio signal has been fired. So log. Publisher. Maybe it needs to be published one more time. I don't know. It did well. So I don't know. I calculated aspect ratio. See, actually, mail set publisher. This is where it does actually get set. R2, and then we're actually gonna say what the number was, aspect ratio. And then let's go back in. 12 clear update. Publisher setting the aspect ratio to 1.226, which I think is right. Okay, so set aspect ratio. Okay, so he knows the number 2. Feel like we're getting close. Okay, we want to go to the 3 camera service. Comma. Aspect ratio. And there's just no one way to do this sort of debugging. Unfortunately, and I guess it can be a bit of a mystery for sure on like how you do this, how you actually come in and you debug stuff. Um, Aspect ratio is 1, and then we do the update, and here's where things get weird. And then that's fine. Aspect ratio, publish setting aspect ratio to 1.22. Then we resize. Publisher setting AR to 1.25. But see, this is 158. So so 1258, it gets determined. Oh wait, set aspect 24. No, okay, 24547. So this is what it actually was set to, and this is what it actually should be. No, and this is what it actually should be. So it seems like there's no like throttling or debouncing, and it makes sense that there wouldn't have been throttling because this is only setting the value in memory. Um, so yeah, there's no reason to throttle just values in memory. It's you only want to throttle things that go on screen. So I had already, I guess, thought ahead of that, where like I just need to make sure that whenever this after happens. Okay, so okay, how do we determine that first value in here? I feel like we're starting to get close now. So let's go to update component and see this one uses, okay, the actual viewer width and viewer height. And this is the calculated aspect ratio. So how do we set our viewer width and viewer height is the next question. So on viewport size service, we set the viewer height, width, and height. Okay, so I'm going to do this console log. And yeah, this may end up being a completely different fix than I thought it was. Because it kind of looks like at the end of this effect, maybe it makes sense to then update the calculator. And maybe it's just a matter of moving this somewhere else. Or maybe it's a matter of just delaying it, saying, hey, delay it. And I think that would actually have calling our debounce would in fact actually delay it. I don't know. It is a bit of a I don't know, maybe not. We'll have to think through whether it's a misuse of, like it's going to make the code more difficult to understand. F12. Okay, so setting with, okay, so this actually happened after all of this. So let's see what happens when we change. So it kind of looks like we should call whatever it is that publishes to have a new width and height at this point. Let's see. And I would have thought it was in here, right? Constructor effect, viewport resize service, viewport. So yeah, it doesn't look like the resize, like the whatever is doing the calculated aspect ratio is tied to the viewport resize service. And I think that was like the basic mistake. So I don't know how we set that. So if you remember correctly, okay, so let's try console log. Figure out how to reset the calculated. See, oh wait. Okay, AR is set publisher this renderer ID. Am I crazy? It's this. It seems like this should be the one that sets the calculated ratio. And I send it this renderer ID. I send it the renderer ID. So I'm wondering if the renderer itself is not set up right yet. Get process visualization. Right, because we're ST. Okay, so oh, this is waiting. Oh, okay, so here's another signal that waits for changes to the aspect ratio. And I don't know why, because all we're getting back is our AR, and then and then we set our calculated aspect ratio, which is a function in here, which kind of seems like it's wrong because it seems like the AR should be this thing. Okay, so yeah, this is weird because okay, yeah, this is purely like a new path for me. So basically, the AR gets set, that aspect ratio gets set based on this, which is based on the renderer ID. So this thing goes and it asks the renderer, "Hey, what's your aspect ratio?" But the problem is that this is sometimes fresher information. So yeah, like sometimes we are going to want to use this for a calculated ratio. This set calculated. Now this is just for our local, right? I'm guessing. If AR, this calculated aspect ratio is that. So basically, yeah, so this is only for reading the calculated ratio. Publisher, this set. Okay, so this is what is displayed. This is what the current AR is for the renderer. All right, so that's what this are. So basically, we know that if okay, so basically there's an edge case here, right? So basically, sometimes they're going to be the same, right? So console log. Okay, the expected AR, and that is going to be viewer width, viewer height. This viewer width. I don't know if we'll end up with a divided by this viewer height. And I don't know if that will be like a problem, like those don't exist and cause some sort of math issue. Don't know. Doesn't look like it. So when we look at this, we have a expected AR and then the calculated AR. And that's going to be AR. And when the application first when the page first comes up, it is accurate because of a timing issue. But then there's apparently another timing edge case where there's a different timing issue. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. Where there's a different timing issue, and in that situation, we're wrong. Okay, so this is interesting. So the expected AR. So it's weird, right? Because our width. Oh, do I have it backwards? Something that looks right. Looks wrong. AR. Feel like there's the inverse. Is it height over width? Okay, let's come over here and see what we're actually printed out. Viewer width over height. This viewer width divided by this viewer height. Doesn't it kind of look like it's backwards? Like this is height over width. I don't know what the heck is going on. Expected. Props. And we got width first and height second. Okay, I'm actually curious. Width. Don't think that's right. Don't think it's 1,000 wide, and yeah, something is really screwy there. I think. Because that's the whole viewport height. What am I doing wrong here? Viewer width, viewer height. Oh, and that's viewer width, viewer height. I feel like I've gone insane. see, this seems right now, the view for the right viewer width and viewer height. Okay, so the calculated. This is so weird. This is freaking weird, right? Because, okay, let's go with F12 again. Need to get off of here in a second. And then there. So it says our width is 633, 1002 expected, and then the actual AR is not defined. And then we're going to update, because I think what it matters now. I think I'm in the wrong, maybe this is supposed to be in the editor. I bet you that's, well, no, this says expected ratio, editor, width and height. And I'm going to just go like this. Width and height. I'm just going to say W and H. Six. Okay. So my width and height here says it's 6. The height is 526 and the width is 633. But F12, we're saying that the width is 633, but the height is only 526. So at some point, the width and the height gets modified. And it looks like I divide it by 2 at some point. Control F. So this only gets set after this resize visualization. And then I do a set timeout. So this is probably where I need to do something. Where am I? I'm in app update. Set calculation, aspect ratio. All right. Resize. There we go. That'll be easy to find because I got it misspelled so weirdly. And then boom. And yeah, so this happens. Okay, so yeah, so I have, it looks like I'm in a rabbit hole where basically I do have an issue. The height that I'm actually showing up here is not, this is incorrect up here at the top for one thing. Find the right place. Yeah, so that is not correct. Well, it's weird. Okay, so that's the whole viewer height. Okay, so yeah, okay, so this is being misused in the editor. So basically, yeah, there's a problem is I'm using viewer height. Sometimes it's just this and sometimes it's all of this. So, or maybe sometimes it's just this and sometimes it's all of that. But anyways, yeah, that is an issue. I got to work through that. And it's not surprising. Anyways, I got to start working 1 minute. So happy coding, everybody. Bye.